that we've been telling the wrong thing to elders. The two most difficult things to convince an elderly person about. They say human race is the only race that lives in anticipation. It's a little void, leaving something behind, saying, I want to do this. It never comes out. Initially, just articulating what we do and why somebody will need it was a big challenge, right? Even as late as last year, even now we hear this, parents are doing well, they're mobile, they're fine, they're 78 and 72, they're by themselves in their house, there's no health challenges, so they are fine. So the children don't see a direct need for, it's very intangible, so they don't see a direct need for somebody like us. When we interacted with people of the generation, we realized that there was a little void in their lives. They were very happy. I mean, economically, they were much better off than they were when they were younger. They had all the comforts. Health-wise, they were managing, with whatever condition they were having and so on. But we sensed a void. There's some boredom in their life. So we felt that was a need that needs to be acknowledged and addressed. If we talk to children, they may not be able to relate to this a lot. When these days, when we speak to prospects who call us, there are people who say this also. Parents are bored. Can you do anything? But over the initial days, it was always I'm worried about their health safety. I'm worried about they having to run around for even mundane tasks and so on. So, right. So this insight, Silla say, it is not complete if we just make them exist. It is not complete if you just take all the day-to-day troubles out of their lives. It is complete only if you give them something to look forward to. Question that we asked ourselves was, when you're 80, would you like to go leave where you've stayed and your friends and your ecosystem here and go live somewhere else? The answer is no. And talking to people, we realize that we're not alone. Everybody has the same. I've been in Mylapore. I have my Kapagambal mess, Kapaleshwar Koil, that little market there. I don't want to trade that for anything else. And if they do need to go and saying the message that they get is something else. There's nothing to look forward to. They're leaving something behind and going. So the premise was we will give everything but the senior citizen communities are great. I've heard wonderful stories about pretty much every Serines and Nana Nanis. They used to do some wonderful stuff. So we wanted to bring everything that they do there to the doorstep of where our elders live. You're in Ananagar, you've been there for 30 years. That's we'll bring what these communities will give you otherwise to your doorstep. For example, Nana Nani, I know they have events pretty much every week. Somebody comes and sings. There's a karaoke, there's a card game, something happens. But you are limited to what the community gives. Whereas here, I can take advantage of what the city gives. So there's a music season. It's wide open. I like these artists and these sabas. You can go and experience. There's a literary society meeting happening somewhere. I like books. I can go and participate there. So you're not limited to. You're not meeting just the same set of people. You're interacting with a lot of, and in some ways you're going back to what you were doing when you were younger. You did things. You went to different places when you were younger, and you get to do the same now here. Yeah, so we collect information from the children when they sign up their parents as to what they think their interests are, what their personality is. And usually people say he's very friendly, outgoing, or very introverted, and so on. But they say, he's interested in this. He used to be an engineer, so he likes that. He's an artist, or they just like meeting people. So we collect some information about their personalities, and we meet the elders 3 to 6 times a month, depending on their need and the plan design and so on and so forth. Again, 3 to 6 times a month. Why not every day? We are like ether. We are there, but we don't overwhelm you with our presence. This has to be content every time we go and meet them. So as part of these conversations, so they're all no agenda conversations, really. We just go and talk. A lot of my seniors know everything about me. They know my wife's name, my kid's name, what do they do, what I did last week, how was my golf game, everything they do. So we talk about just like we talk with friends. And as part of this, they open up and they show glimpses of what they used to do and what they used to like and what they wish they were doing and so on. And it's never uttered in specific sentences saying, I want to do this. It never comes out. You have to sense it. And then when that thing happens, you have to present it to them, saying, "Hey, why don't we?" And you can see it in their eyes when it lights up that, hey, it's something that they want to do, and so on. So we have a fair idea. Each Cadbury will have a fair idea what really sparks that interest, and we'll do our bit to enable that, and we won't be disappointed if they don't take it. That's fine, but we do our part in just being enabling agents for that. Yeah. Dan Gilbert's book, Stumbling Upon Happiness. He says that one sentence. He says, human race is the only race that lives in anticipation. The examples he gives are all, if you're going on a date, you're thinking about the thought of going on a date excites you more than the actual date itself. And then expands to how your ambition in life, you want to make so many dollars, and you're in that anticipation you go through, and so on and so forth. But we took that and put it into this context. It's probably more applicable in the life of an elder. We took a bunch of senior citizens to Vivekananda House, and they had a blast. So, and even though they had to climb 2-3 steps every now and so we do this recce beforehand. It should not be too hard on them. If I'm taking a 95-year-old to a concert, I ensure that she or he doesn't have to walk more than 15 steps to the seat. And its seat is close to the toilet, and we do all that. So Vivekananda House, so they had a high. They insisted on going to the beach and all that. Took them. So it was almost like we had to say, hey, enough. Let's go back. And there they said, hey, the metro has been there in Chennai for a while, but we've never experienced it. Can you guys take us on a metro ride once? And we were all stunned, because something that we take it for granted, metro ride. How can that be exciting to? So they just want to ride from one spot to the airport, get down, go to that Sangita, have a coffee, and then take the metro, come back, and then go home. And that is an outing. Simple thing, but that brings joy. And when we say the metro ride is for next Thursday, that 1 week they'll be thinking about, okay, so metro ride is there next Thursday. So that'll be a pinned on there.
The Dan Gilbert thing.
Dan Gilbert thing. It's true, so true, Sukumar. The Dan Gilbert statement is so true. Yeah.
Very nice.
I came across this Lincoln quote. No, it's not about adding years to life, but rather it is about adding life to years.
Yeah.
And it's your T-shirt has it, by the way.
Yeah.
So that as a slogan. So this was when we founded, and we were excited about this stay active. So this came as this. We expected this to be the fulcrum of what we do. And then COVID came and put a stop to a lot of these activities. So we had to pivot and see how we can do things online for them. A concert will be relayed online. We'll go and see. It's easy for you and I to say, hey, this thing comes, just cast it onto the TV, or mirror it onto the TV. It's not so easy for them. It can be challenging technology. So we used to send people to go and enable this, write notes and say, do this step, do this step, do this step for tomorrow's concert. And so even during COVID times, our Madrasna concerts were all online, and they all loved Madrasna. And we had to go and do this, enable it for them. Because concert is not fun listening to it on a cell phone. It has to be on a
Mobile
TV. It has to
phone.
be sound has to be there, and and the visual has to be there, and so on and so forth. Yeah. So our involvement, we are as involved in each of our elders as we are with our own parents. So we for the children, it is about establishing the comfort that here are people who know my parents nearly as well as I do. I say nearly because we'll never be,
The same.
the same as the children, nearly as well as we do, and who take decisions on behalf of me for their parents, just like I do. Keeping their interests in mind and what is right and so on and so forth, right? And the way we interact with the elders itself, it takes time. It's not, it doesn't happen overnight. So we always say, give us 3 months minimum to establish the rapport, and we get accepted as part of their ecosystem. Hey, look at it. What is the best place for parents to be with the children or with family members who are next? What is the next best? Have somebody who can function as your your family. So there are times when a member has unfortunately passed away, and our care buddy was not in a great mood for 2 days. So we get actually involved in their. And something nice happens, great grandchildren happen, we go and we get called for celebrations. Birthdays are celebrated, anniversaries are celebrated, often with video calls and and so on and so forth. So it is a very intangible thing that the people experience from us. That the group of people who are interacting, they interact as if it's a list of check marks that we do, but the bigger picture is actually thinking for them and and lack of a better word, advising what we should do, what they should do, and how the children should look at things, and so on and so forth. Yeah. So we almost become sounding boards in cognizant context, trusted advisors.
Trusted advisors.
Advisors. Yeah. Our design was to recruit young, fresh minds from places like Madras School of Social Work, people with a psychology background, and so on. But that didn't quite pan out. We were a startup, finding our feet, and so on. So the people joining us joined the initial set, joined by themselves. So there's one person who had come back from Singapore, and he was taking care of his mother, and that was his thing that he was doing. He was done with his working life as such, and he heard about us and reached out to us and say, something wonderful that you're doing. I can totally relate. Can I come and do this for other people as well? And then it was friends referring, employees referring other people. Hey, this is very satisfying. So most of our employees have come by reference, and lately we have seen people applying for jobs as care buddies. So we've crossed that stage of having to go and convince people to join us and so on. And the age group of people joining, the youngest is a 28-year-old, but generally it is all in the mid 40s, early 50s people. People who have done their stint in the corporate world and all that, and people who are just doing this out of passion, housewives, and so on. There's a 57-year-old who reached out to me a couple of days ago, who was very interested in joining us, seeing what we do. He had heard about us from one of the care buddies, so he had seen him in one of the members' houses and so on. So yeah.
Very nice.
If somebody asks me the two most difficult things to convince an elderly person about, I'll say one is using the walking stick, other is using a hearing aid. both are, if you think about it, in their mind, signs of weakness.
I see.
The walking stick is a sign of weakness. And hearing aid, people will call me deaf, and they don't mind being shut out from the world, but they won't wear a hearing aid. It takes a lot of convincing. So again, walking stick. We looked at it and we realized that we've been telling the wrong thing to elders as to why they should use the walking stick. The typical reason why people say use a walking stick is you will have a fall. And then we'll give all those statistics. 65% of falls happen inside the house. Out of that, 49% results in a fracture. And all this is negative, right? So it's like selling an insurance policy saying, if you die, it's a negative start.
Yeah.
So we flipped this a little bit. So not a little bit, actually a lot. And I'm fairly convinced about this way to look at walking stick. So I told some elders that you use a walking stick and you see how your posture changes, your confidence improves. What takes you a minute to cross you'll get there in 10 seconds. Um, you will actually lose 10-15 years in the way you walk in terms of gait and so on and so forth. And the eyes light up when you say this. The result is still mostly the same. So they still go back and think and say, okay, I don't. But at least the response is, they are interested in what you're saying. So they don't like the word aid, help, anything that conveys weakness about them. They don't like. So you have to navigate through that. The comfort has to be established. Coming back to why 3 months and not 6 months and 12 months. 3 months you need as a period where the children need to know that they are getting value for what they are signing up for. The elders need to experience the value, and we have to be comfortable as well that hey, there's something that we can do. Uh, a popular thing, popular phrase that people use is, when they get old, parents become like your children, or parents become your children. No, they never become your children. And you should not look at it like that as well, right? So I saw this TED talk by Amy O'Rourke. Okay, I've written a blog on this as well. So she works with the senior citizen community in Florida, and she says the parent-child relationship never changes. No, when you're a child, when you're 3 years old, and you were here and your parents were here. When you're 20, okay. When you're 20, you're still here and your parents are here. When you're 50 and your parents are 70, the parents are still here and you're here. This equation never changes in their heads. Okay. You might think that they have become more frail, weaker, and so now they have to listen to me. They don't listen to me. So it's a complaint that we keep hearing. They won't, because for them it is, they're not used to that. The model is different, right? So she says, the next time you go and talk to your parents and you want to convey a message to them, try this. First, convey standing up and they're sitting. So you're looking down and talking to them. It won't work. And then you go sit down on the floor where they are at a higher level and you speak to them. They can relate to that, oh, okay, so that relationship hasn't changed, right? It's a very true and important consideration for us. So anytime that we are convinced that our elders have to do something, right? For example, having a in-home helper is a big hump to cross for them. Now suddenly there is a stranger in the house for 12 hours. Suddenly there's a stranger in the house for 20. It's a big hump to cross, and they resist it. But if we know that it's something that they need, okay, we won't go and tell you need this, or else it won't work. Because even if you put somebody there, there'll be a zillion reasons as to why that is not working. It has to become their idea. You have to make a solution, seed that thought, put all the positives out there, and they have to accept it as their own idea. Yeah, I think, what do you think? When they say, what do you think? Should we have a 24-hour helper? You've done your thing, right? It's a good. Yeah, lot of the frustration on the children's part comes with the lack of this understanding that the equation hasn't changed. It's still the same. You might be a billionaire now, you might be a hotshot, whatever. But I have my bank account here, and I think I'm comfortable. I mean, this is there. We have a client where the son is is a big guy involved on the Wall Street, and his mother here no doesn't
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 care.
believe that he can take care of her finances.
Oh, okay.
Doesn't believe that he knows how to take care of her finances. It's very
Wow.
interesting, and we all have a laugh about it. It's yeah. My good friend Chandramouli. So we used to work together at Cognizant. So he was talking about his desire to come and do something like this formally. So he was in Mindtree, heading Mindtree in Chennai. And informally, just like all of us, we'll be the de facto caretakers for elders in our community. Something happens, call Chandramouli, call Venkat is the. So he's been doing that. He had been doing that in his community and so on. So hey, I've been doing this. This is something that I find satisfying. So he came and joined us as part of the management team. And Anupama is a BITS alumni, with BITS alumnus. And we all know how strong the BITS network is. She went abroad, studied, worked there, settled there, and then and decided to come back because her parents-in-laws are all way here. So that the same what to say attraction was there to be there for her elders, and she wanted to do something similar, and she came to us, and we found it attractive to have her in our part of the management team. So the two of us are co-founders, and four of us are part of the management team in total.